welcome to today's video. This one is a very exciting one because I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is books. I'm sure you can see some of the ones sitting here beside me, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about 24 books that I will be reading in 2024, or would like to get to in 2024. Right now I have my piles split up into I think it's 4 different piles. We have Christian books, we have romance books, we have fantasy books, and then we have 2 books that are, I don't even know what to put them in. I have them as like thriller slash emotionally draining, sad, maybe a little bit on the edge of your seat books. So that's a little high. That's what I have planned for today. So let's get things rolling. First up, I think I'm going to let's do the Christian books. So I've been trying to read more and more Christian books each and every year because I just feel like that's something that I want to do. I want to grow my relationship with God and just further my knowledge. I don't know. I like reading personal encounters that people have with the Lord, reading about their journey, reading about the things that they go through. And sometimes it's just helpful to know that you're not alone. Like, you're not going through the trials and tribulations that you go through as a human and as a Christian by yourself. Like, there's other people that experience the same thing or similar things. And I like to think that you don't always have to learn from experiences. You can learn from other people's experiences. And that's why I have these 5 books that I'm going to talk about. The first 2 are by C.S. Lewis. And I feel like these are just ones that I've seen a lot of people who I respect as Christians and creators talk about, and they say that they really enjoy them. Now, I feel like I've read a little bit of this one, but I honestly can't remember anything about it. So the first one is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. It says, the beloved classic on what all Christians believe. Explain and defend the belief that has been common to nearly all Christians at all times. Rejecting the boundaries that divide Christianity's many denominations, Lewis provides an equal opportunity for believers and non-believers alike to hear a powerful, rational case for the Christian faith. It is a collection of I don't know how to say that word, scintillating brilliance that remains strikingly fresh for the modern reader, and at the same time confirms C.S. Lewis' reputation as one of the leading writers and thinkers of our age. I'm excited. I'll let you guys know what I think, but I think just reading other people's encounters about their journey with Christ is something that I really want to start doing more of, and who better to start with than C.S. Lewis. Another one of his books that I have is called The World's Last Night. Tell me that's not going to get your attention if you saw this at a Barnes & Noble's, because it got mine. What do you mean, The World's Last Night? And then on the back page, first thing I see is Essays on Temptation and Evil. We're all tempted and we're all somewhat evil. So it caught my attention and I'm excited. It says, we are not the playwriter, we are not the producer, we are not even the audience. We are on stage. To play well the scenes in which we are on concerns us much more than to guess about the scenes that follow it. The infamous Screw Tape makes a special appearance with a toast that explores the prospects for exploiting evil. Blending irony, humor, and paradox, Lewis tackles religion's most difficult and intriguing questions regarding immorality, belief, and the meaning of prayer. Captivating. Doesn't he have a book called, oh no, that's somebody else. I did read a book called Captivating, but like, I don't know. Sounds good to me, so I'm excited to read those 2. Next, this book is called The Women of the Bible Speak. And it says, or let me let you see it first. The wisdom of 16 women and their lessons for today. I'm excited because I'm a woman, and sometimes you never really hear about, or you do hear about the women in the Bible sometimes, but I feel like it's kind of short. So when I saw this book, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was like, maybe it'll have just the women's POVs, background information, and everything that they went through in their walk and encounter with God in this book. And like, I'll have it in a place that's not so like hard to pull out, because sometimes the Bible's hard to understand, and the information in there, it's hard to pull out the meaning of it all, and sometimes it's not meant for you to understand in that moment. But I don't know, I thought that this was just the perfect little thing. And when I open it up to the content, as you can see, it has some of the women listed out. So first is Sarah and Hagar. That's good. Intriguing. Like, if you know, you know. Right there, I'm like, okay, I need to read that. Rachel and Leah. Then it has Tamar and Ruth, Deborah and Jael. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Then we have Hannah and Miriam, Esther and Rahab. I'm butchering these names. I'm so sorry. Esther and Rahab, Mary and Martha of Bethany. Come on now. Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary Magdalene. Jesus and the women is the last chapter. Come on. Come on. This is something that I really want to get to because as a woman, I just feel like it's important to know, one, the women of the Bible, two, know their stories and what Jesus valued in them and what they brought to the table and how they executed it. I just think that's how you grow, and I want to grow. So I want to know. Okay, next. This book I heard on a podcast. The podcast that I was listening to is Happy and Healthy with by Janine Amapola, or now Janine Ward. And she was talking about this book, Why Do I Do What I Don't Want to Do? Tell me, the titles of these books are getting me. Why do I do what I don't want to do? Why do I do what I don't want to do? And the way that she talked about on the podcast is just like, why do we do what we don't want to do? Have you ever done something and you're like, dang, like, why did I even do that? Like, God delivered me from that. God healed me from that. Why did I even think that that was a good idea to go back and do? And then you think about that Proverbs where it's like a fool repeats something like a dog goes back to its vomit or something like that. And you're like, did I just go back to my vomit? But seriously, like, I think about that and I'm like, that's disgusting. So when I heard them talk about this book, I was like, I need to read that. How to Overcome the Habits That Are Stealing Joy from Your Life. Who wouldn't want to know that? So I'm excited to read this one. I'm excited to see what it's all about and hopefully learn something to help me not do the things that I don't want to do. And then lastly, now, this is a Christian book, but it's a little bit on the romance side, and I watched the movie, and was I vlogging at this time? I don't even know if I was vlogging at this time. Anyways, I am obsessed with this movie. I went to go see it in the movie theaters. I watched it at home. Like, I bought it on Apple like TV or whatever. I'm obsessed with this movie. I'm obsessed with this story. Obviously it's a little exaggerated for theatrical purposes, but I don't know. And I have been trying to get to it since MED. So yeah, I did vlog this little part. But like, after I watched the movie, I was like, I have to read the book. It was just done so well. This is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. The classic story that has captured the heart of millions worldwide. This is about Michael Hosea. Hosea in the Bible. This is his story, but I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. It kind of goes deeper into the POV of his wife that he ends up marrying. God ends up telling him to marry this prostitute. He marries her. But in this book, in the Bible, that's kind of all it says. Editing Erica popping in. And I think it's so funny. This is just a little coincidence. But today's Monday, so 2 Sundays ago, my pastor actually preached on the book of Hosea. And let me just say, it's not all that it says, but it's very hard to understand the book. I mean, the book of the Bible, Hosea. Like, before she preached on it, like, I didn't really understand a lot of it. And I just want to clarify that it's not all that it says, but it's kind of a hard book to understand, and I just want to clarify that. And when I read it, I'll make a more in-depth video of all my thoughts. But to clarify, it's not all that the book of the Bible says. Like, it has a lot of values and lessons. My brain just could not comprehend that at the time, and it still can't even fully comprehend all of the parallels of the way that God is trying to show us that he loves us loves his people through that book and through Hosea and his wife's relationship. So bye. In the book, the author kind of takes it a step further and like shows all the different ways and all the different things that the wife and Michael Hosea, like all the different trials and tribulations they had to go through together. And it's just, the movie was beautiful. I can't speak for the book, but the movie was so beautiful. And immediately I went to Barnes & Noble's and I was like, I have to get this. I have to read this. And I'm trying to get to it next year. Okay, that was it for our Christian books. And I'm excited to read all of these and just see what's happening. Yeah, okay. Next up, we have our romance books. Now, we're gonna start off strong. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know I'm not getting to these books till the summer. And let me tell you why. These next 4 books that I'm about to show you, I'm kind of embarrassed that I haven't read them yet, but during the summer, I think I just got finished studying, or I was still studying for my MCAT, so I just wasn't really in a place where I was reading a whole lot. And people have raved about this author. This is people's favorite author. I need to see what's going on eventually. Like, I'm so out of the loop, it's not even funny. So, and when you guys see these, you guys are gonna be like, how do you call yourself a reader and you haven't read these books? But listen, I've tried. Okay, these are the 4 books. They're all by Emily Henry, and we're gonna go through them one by one. First up, and I feel like this is the first one that most people read, People We Meet on Vacation. Now, I did start this. You can kind of see I have a little tab right there. But it was really hard for me to get into. Like, it was kind of slow, and I was like, I don't want to read this. So I put it down, and I didn't pick it back up, obviously. But I'm going to give it another shot because a lot of people raved about, not this book in particular, but the author. So, I don't know. And it wasn't boring. I just think that I had a lot going on, and I kept putting it down. And when you're reading, you kind of have to, like, binge the first first 100 or so pages to really get into the storyline. And back then, I wasn't doing that. So, People We Meet on Vacation is first. Next, Beach Read. This is so many people's one of their 5-star reads. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't know how I've avoided spoilers, how I've avoided reading or watching an aesthetic video on TikTok that gives something away. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just in my own little world. But a lot of people really love this book, so I'll give it a shot. I don't really know much about it, so... Oh, they live in the same neighborhood or the same house? I don't know. They're both writing books. I think they live in neighboring houses. And I guess they're both going for best-selling author. I don't know. I'm kind of skimming the back, but I'm gonna read this during the summer and I'm excited. Next, we have Book Lovers. Is this people's favorite? Or no, it's Beach Read. Book Lovers, I don't know. I literally don't know anything about this book either. It's so sad because Emily Henry, she's some people's favorite author, like I said, and I haven't picked up a book. I haven't finished a book by her, actually. So Book Lovers is next, and then Happy Place. Now, I almost read this one this summer. I really did. I almost did because I saw so much on it. People were crying. They were saying that it was giving them founding family vibes. They felt like they were part of the friend group. They were so sad that it was ending. I think it's about a couple who has broken up, but they're still pretending like they're together because their friend group doesn't know, and they just want them to have like one last summer at this beach house or lake house that they're all staying at, and it's getting ready to be sold. So maybe like The Summer I Turned Pretty, if that one scene just was like stretched out. Yeah, so I'm gonna read this, Happy Place. Once again, if you're an Emily Henry fan, so sorry, but I'm gonna get to them. I'm gonna get to them, and I'm gonna have a little book marathon. Next on the romance department, we have 4 more books. First, we have the last book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, The Final Offer. Now, I read the first 2 earlier this year, and I think I don't know if I vlogged it or not. I might have vlogged a little bit of it, but I'm very interested. I think I put this one off because this one just seems like it's gonna be a little bit more serious, because Cal you get a little bit of all the brothers in each book, and so by the time that you get to this one, you know a lot about Cal, and after seeing his relationship with Iris and just seeing how good of a guy he is, like, I don't know if I'm ready for him to be painted as sort of the villain, but I know enough about what goes on in this book to, like, I don't know how he's not. I don't know how I feel about it. I need to get to it so I can finish the series, but I'm also just kind of like, I'm a little nervous. So, Final Author by Lauren Asher. Then we have another one by Lauren Asher, Love Redesign. I saw everybody freaking out about this, so I bought it. That's all I know about it. I don't know a single thing about this book other than everyone's freaking out about it. So, is it enemies to lovers? Looks like it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry, I just read the back. I don't know anything about this, but I feel like I should read it. Those are my only thoughts, because I really did enjoy the other books by Lauren Asher. Next, we have The Icebreaker. This book blew up, I want to say around the summertime or earlier in the year. I never read it because I was busy at the time, but I haven't read anything hockey related since the L. Kennedy books, so The Score, The Deal, The Goal. I don't even know all of them. You know, if you know, you know. And then I read like 2 or 3 of the books in the Briar U series, and I really did enjoy them. So I was like, you know what? Maybe if I'm feeling like I need a quick little palate cleanser from all the fantasies I'm about to read, pick up The Icebreaker and give it a shot. I'm excited. I've never read a bad hockey romance. That's not true. But I've never read one that I haven't enjoyed. Even enjoying picking it apart is still enjoyable, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. Next, I'm excited for this book strictly for the way the cover looks. Look at those arm tattoos. Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Now, she wrote the cheat sheet, and I loved the cheat sheet. It was cute, it was wholesome, it was a good time. It was a good time. So you know what? I saw the cute cover, I saw Mr. Mans with his arm tats, and the back seemed interesting too. So I thought, why not read it? And she lives a quiet life running the local flower shop in Rome, Kentucky. I don't know. Sounds like it's a good time. And I guess I'll figure it out because I definitely want to read it. Okay, so those are all the books for the romance. We have these 4, 2 by Lauren Asher, 1 by Hannah Grace, and then 1 by Sarah Adams. Then we have the 4 famous Emily Henry books that I seriously need to get to, or else my reader card might be revoked. Next we're going to do, oh, these are my thrillers slash emotional books. First up, you can cancel me if you want to, because I should have been read this book, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And look, I started it a long time ago. Y'all remember the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl that we had? Yeah, I tried to start that during that game, knowing that my team was playing and it was gonna be a close game, and we ended up losing and I was sad. But like, I don't know why I tried to start it then. It was really good though. Like the beginning, like I was entranced, but then halftime came on with Riri and I was like, you know what? It's a done deal. So there's not much to say. Like I want to read this. I gotta read this. I think it's getting turned into a show soon, so I really need to read this, and I'm excited to read this and all the other ones that come with it. Next, Verity by Colleen Hoover. I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I do know why. I got sick of Colleen Hoover books because why do all of her books leave me staring at a wall questioning reality? Like, they're so sad. I don't care if there's a happy ending. Like, at what cost? At what freaking cost? And this one, people were freaking out about it. Team manuscripts, team something else, throwing up, crying. And y'all wanted me to start this in a period of my life where I was already being emotionally scarred? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But I am going to start it this year because I just need to know. I need to know what teen manuscripts, team whatever is all about. I want to know what's so like that everybody was talking about. I want to know whose side I should be on. I want to be a part of the conversation. And you best believe after I finish this, I'm scrolling on TikTok for 2.5 hours figuring out every POV, every other plot line, every hole in the book, everybody's thoughts and opinions. I want to see it all. If you've read this, I want you to just comment the amount of stars that you gave it if you read it. And maybe like in a few months, be like, hey Erica, did you read that book? And then DM me your thoughts, because I need to know. I know it's gonna be juicy and I know it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be, and I know it's going to be twisted. That's what I'm nervous about. Twisted. Okay, and this last one, I know you guys are thinking, why are you gonna do this to yourself? Why are you gonna do this to yourself? Why not? Y'all did it. Y'all did it. If He Had Been With Me. I need to read this because apparently there's another book coming out with the guy's point of view. I have no idea what goes on in this, but look at the cover. A smashed lollipop? I know there's some symbolic meaning to this, and the way that people were crying, like, they were crying hysterically over this book. They were crying like they just watched their favorite pet get ran over. Sorry if that's triggering. But like, I was like, what's going on? I want to be in the loop. So that's why I'm reading it. What's going on? I want to be in the loop. Maybe I'm going to cry. I don't think have I cried over a book? I don't think I have. I don't know why I'm looking around. I literally don't think I have. So maybe this will be my first. So those are the 3 books for the thriller slash emotional category. I'm excited to get to these. Maybe I'll get to them around like, I don't know, spooky season, fall time. This time next year. That's sad. Actually, no, a little bit earlier. So I'm excited, especially for the If You Had Been With Me. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get the series out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and get this series out of the way. If you know, you freaking know what series I'm talking about. I need to finish these. I need to finish A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames. I need to finish this so I can start Assassin's Blade. Now, I was reading this one right before I started studying for the MCAT, and I had to stop because it was getting juicy and I wasn't doing my work. But now that I don't have that anymore, I'm gonna pick it back up. And the first book was good. Second book, out of this world. Third book, I remember it being good, but also kind of being like, this is really long. Like, does it need to be this long? So, and I know a lot of people don't like the 4th one just because it kind of switches POVs, or the 4th one. A Court of Silver Flames. Well, yeah, the 4th one, because this is a novella, right? I don't know. I know a lot of people don't like this because it switches POVs. I think it's a Nesta, and a lot of people are avoiding reading it. But I think once you read it, a lot of people say that they kind of understand where she's coming from. I don't know if I'll ever be that girl. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Because without giving spoilers away, I don't know. Nesta, I'm not team Nesta. Not that we're picking sides. They're sisters. Not that we're picking sides, but like, anyways, I'm gonna get to these. I really am. So I can start the next book on here, The Assassin's Blade. I want to start this so I can start Throne of Glass because it just, like, I'm in my fantasy era right now, guys. I am. I'm reading Powerless right now. I'm in my fantasy era. The only reason I didn't pick this up, or haven't picked it up yet, is because I have to read those. Once I read those, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for this one and I'm reading it. And I'm starting this series because people are saying it's one of the best fantasy series they've ever written. People are in Sarah J Maas's mind and they're saying that she is one of the greatest fantasy authors of all time. And I was blown away by her work in that book, in that series, the world building. When I tell you, I feel like I'm physically in that world. I was physically with Feyre when everything went down with Tamlin. I was physically with her, okay? Physically. I felt like I walked down the aisle with her. Is that a spoiler? Anyways, I feel like it's not. I'm gonna get to this book, long story short. And I wanna see what everyone's talking about Sarah J Maas. I don't not believe you because I'm already blown away by her creativity and I haven't even, I've only read 2.5 books by her. Next. We have, this one I'm classifying as fantasy, The Naturals, because I think they have supernatural abilities. Am I right? Like they get recruited by the FBI because they have a gift that helps them solve cases. This book blew up this year and I feel like that's enough explanation right there. Like that sounds cool. You have supernatural abilities that help you solve cases and the FBI wants you and you're teenagers and there's other teenagers. What more could you ask for? I'm excited to read this and to read the other books that go along with the series. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, she did a really good job with the Inheritance Games. We know why I'm all salty about that book. We all know. If you don't know, go watch where I read it. I am still kind of in denial. So hopefully this series goes a little bit better for me. Next, Dance of Thieves. I know nothing about this book. I picked it up a while ago and a lot of people like it and a lot of people like Vow of Thieves, which is the book after this, and I feel like anything fantasy I'm gonna read it. You could literally be like, oh my gosh, it was the love, like I love that, I'm picking it up. You love it, I love it. You like it, I love it. I'm just excited to read it. A formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations. Sold. First line, sold. I don't need to know anything else. Next, City of Bones, The Immortal Instruments, Book 1. I watched this movie, as did everyone, but I rewatched it the other day, probably like a month or two ago, because I was bored and it was on Netflix. And I realized there was never another, like I looked up like what happens in the next movie, there was never another movie made. We're left on a cliffhanger. So I was like, what's going on? And it was like, and this girl, she posted TikTok, she was like, if you want to know like all the tea, read the books, because they're not making another movie. And she made this TikTok like a long time ago. I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, why am I over here complaining about another movie not being made when I have the movies? I have the movies. So I can just read it and figure out what happens because Clary and what's his name? That boy, Jace? That's a spoiler. I know. If you know what happens at the end of the movie, I know that's not true. I know it's not true. And it was such a good movie. So I imagine the book is only going to be better. So I'm excited to read it. A Shadowhunter novel. This is the last book of this video, and if you've been watching my videos, you would know that I just finished the prequel to the series, and I low-key catch myself thinking about it, like randomly, like just thinking about like, I wonder what Homeskillet's doing. Like I have the next book in my possession, but I'm not reading it yet, and I'm like, I wonder how she's handling things. Like, first of all, she's not real. She's real to me though. She's real to me though. I'm excited to read this book. This book is the #1 fantasy that blew up on TikTok this year. I don't care what anyone says. You probably already know from me saying it's the #1 fantasy. Go ahead and whisper your answers. What you think this book is. Okay, I'm just gonna... You were right. You were correct. The book that I just read was Fourth Wing, and the next one in the series is Iron Flame. I did have a reading vlog on this, sort of. I kind of just gave my thoughts. If you know how Fourth Wing ends, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. But it's not even the cliffhanger that's impressive. The main characters do not end on a good note. They kind of end in a way that they're kind of the underdog, okay? And I love underdogs. I'm excited to see what they end up doing. The Fourth Wing had so many of my favorite tropes. The first one being the whole communication, mind talking thing, like when they can communicate with just each other, like kind of read each other's thoughts, like it gets me every time. It gets me every time. Anyways, I'm excited to read this book. I really do think it's gonna be next. I think I'm gonna finish reading Powerless. I might read like a romance book to cleanse my fantasy palette, or I might just go straight into this because I've been reading fantasy kind of back to back. And I don't know. If you want to see, if you read Fourth Wing and you want more of my thoughts on what I'm looking for going into this book, go watch my Fourth Wing vlog, because I really can't say anything here because I don't want to be a spoiler, but there's so much that I want to know. And the fact that it's all sitting here and I'm having self-control reading other books just shows you how much I've grown as a person, because I couldn't put certain books down this year. I had to keep reading them. It would be like 2 a.m. and I'd be like on my phone, scrolling, reading. Anyways, this is the 24th book of the 24 books that I hope to read in 2024. How many times can I say 24? All the fantasy books, to go over them. We have the ones by Sarah J. Maas. Ooh! And we have The Assassin's Blade. And then we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, The City of Bones, The Immortal Instruments Book 1 by Cassandra Clare. We have these. And then we have Iron freaking Flame. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for watching this video. Comment down below if one of these books is in your 5-star reads. Maybe it'll expedite my, its order in the reading list that I have in my head. I'm definitely excited to read all of these, and I hope that I get to them in the new year. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Now look at this mess I gotta clean.